with insecurity and peer pressure. And once anointed king of Israel, those problems became self-evident. Saul's problem, the insecurity and peer pressure, led him to disobey at least 2 times. We read about in the Bible. At least twice. First time, Samuel told Saul that after 7 days, this was in about the 2nd year of his reign, on the 7th day that he would return, Samuel would return to offer the sacrifice. On the 7th day, Samuel was not there when Saul thought he was supposed to have been there. And because the people were not following him and they were scattered, Saul decides, I'm going to offer the sacrifice to try to get the people back to following me. This was the job only for the priest. Right. Saul's disobedience and lack of submission to God caused him in that moment to have the kingdom taken away from him. And Samuel told him basically that if you would have submitted and waited for him and for God, God would have established your kingdom. But because you could not be patient and submit, God has now stripped the kingdom out of your hand. We all hate the P word. Anybody know what the P word is? Patience. Patience. But God, a lot of times, is going to test your submission and obedience in the land of patience. Right. Woo. They're too quiet, Brother Hinky. I need it. You're doing it. Can you be patient and not try to force the hand of God? Moses did that. Moses became the judge, jury, and executioner. Moses went to a place that he shouldn't have even went to. It came into his mind to go look upon his brethren and their burden. God didn't tell him to go. He just went. And when he saw the Egyptian kill the Hebrew, he kills the Egyptian. And now thinking, hey, man, woo, they ought to know God's with me now. Next day he goes out and there's 2 Hebrews fighting, and he stops and the one says, hey, who made you a ruler over us? You going to kill me like you did that Egyptian? And because he forced the hand of God, he had to run for 40 years and hide. Patience. Submission. Man, I'm going to tell you what, there's another P word I hate, probably more than patience. And Brother Hinky has said this P word to me more than anybody I know. Process. 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 I've been processed so much just to haul, I'm nothing but potted meat now. At least it feels that way. Process. Well, you got to go through the process. I'm tired of the process. Let's move beyond, Brother David, this process. And God says, no, because in the process, I'm trying to bring patience and submission. And because you can't, you just have to keep wandering out here until you can learn to wait upon me. Because in your waiting, I'm teaching you how to submit and be obedient. Because if you can wait on God, He will renew your strength. You will mount up with wings as eagles. You will run and not be weary. You will walk and not faint. But you got to learn to be patient and processed and submitted. Look, on my job, I deal with some of the most unsubmitted people in the world. People don't like authority. They don't. Anytime I have got stopped by a police officer, I'm always really nice. Even if I don't think I'm wrong, or if I don't think I'm right or wrong, either way, even if I think I'm in the right, I'm going to be humble. Why? He's got authority. Right. That badge and that gun says, hey, you better listen to me. He is a representative of the law. He enforces that law. He's been given authority to cause you and I to submit to what he says. But people buck against it so much. I get them sometimes, Sister Brenda, they question me, what you stopping me for? And I want to say sometimes because I wanted to. But I don't. I don't. Because I'm being videoed and recorded and all that, so you got to bite your tongue a lot of times. Then God told Samuel to go tell Saul to kill the Amalekites. Saul spared the best of the flocks and King Ahab alive. God tells Samuel that Saul had disobeyed. Samuel arrives and he tells Saul that he had disobeyed God. And what does Saul do? Blames the people. An unsubmitted and disobedient heart will never take the fall for anything. It will never say, you know what, yeah, you're right, I messed up. It's always going to say, well, Brother Daly done it. My wife caused me to do it. And Samuel said, obedience, submission is better than sacrifice. Now look, he's not trying to throw out that, no, we're not to sacrifice. That's not even what he's talking about. What he's saying is, don't try to take something that God said don't do and use it as, oh, I'm offering this to God. It's not a sacrifice. No, it's not. Because God said don't do it. God says, I'd rather you obey what I say instead of trying to bring something that I told you not to do to me now as a sacrifice. And because of this, Samuel turns to leave and Saul grabs his robe and it rips. And Samuel says, because you've done this, today God has stripped the kingdom and given it to somebody worthier than you. I want you to notice something here. God spoke to Abraham because he was submitted. But God spoke to Samuel to Saul because Saul wasn't submitted. Right. God cannot speak to an unsubmitted heart. You know why? Because you ain't going to listen to him anyways. That's why he'll bring a man of God or he'll bring the word to try to get you to hear. Because you know what? You're so unsubmitted and so disobedient that God says, I can't talk to you through that because you're self-willed. Oh, help me, Jesus. And if you come down here and try to pray for somebody and your heart is that way that God can't even talk to you because you won't even listen to him or the man of God, and you come down here and pray for somebody, you could be releasing witchcraft against that because rebellion is as a sin of witchcraft. Now, I'm not getting all goofy here on you. I'm just trying to use the Bible here. Rebellion is because if I'm in disobedience and unsubmitted, what am I? I'm in rebellion to what God is trying to say to me. Through the man of God, through prayer, through the word. And if I am in disobedience and unsubmitted, I am in rebellion to what God is trying to do. And now I'm trying to pray for somebody. Oh, I've got to hurry. I feel like I got some more good stuff here. But let's look at the heart of true submission. David, his name means love. We know the story of David. We're not even going to go into the whole story. But Saul grows to hate David because God has anointed him to be the next king. And twice, Saul tries to kill David by throwing the javelin at him. And both times he missed. David escaped. Twice, David had an opportunity to kill Saul. And he would not do it. And the last time that he had the opportunity to kill Saul, he cut some of his garment and